Midday as a Zumba.
Hello and welcome. This is the Midday News. Anzac Day was commemorated early this morning at the Bomana War Cemetery in Port Moresby with a dawn service. Anzac Day, 25th April, is the National Day of Commemoration of Australia and New Zealand's first major military action at Gallipoli in Turkey in 1915, fought by Australian and New Zealand forces during the First World War. Anzac Day is observed in Papua New Guinea to honor the Anzacs and the local militia and civilians who served the Allied forces during the World Wars. Today's service began at 4 a.m. this morning. A large number of people turned up to participate, including representatives of the Australian and New Zealand Diplomatic Corps and senior officers of the PNG, Australian and New Zealand military. Over at Usurava Memorial Park, Prime Ministers Anthony Albanese and James Marape led the Anzac Day dawn service, concluding Mr. Albanese's Anzac Day visit to Papua New Guinea, which started with the Kokoda Track walk from Deniki village. Both honored those who made sacrifices to defend their home and land, so that way we enjoy the freedom today. The youths of Upulima in the Abao district of Central Province surrendered illegal firearms and homebrew equipment to police at Upulima Station on Wednesday. Under the theme Upulima Youths for Change, the youths said they are fed up of law and order issues and want to bring positive change to their home. Upulima Police Officer Sergeant Sabila Haono said police conducted an awareness on the risk of conducting or engaging in illegal activities after a youth was brutally murdered and the community engaged in a big fight that left many with severe injuries. The surrendering of arms is also a result of the police awareness also.
Without you, this like youth, you know how work for me. You look at Muslim, look at one boss blomi come in stuff like except PSC blomi that's all stuff. Sambla Ron is stuff road. But it only takes a real man to stand up namen lo this all kind community or some saving community. Me like appeal or community you bla looking more me bla no car, me bla no gun. House blomi bla me no good plan. One something disregard lo this something we still carry out our duties. Now one blood is la duties and me bla carry out and result problem now you me looking.
The National Fisheries Authority of Papua New Guinea has refuted claims made by the press that the nation loses 12 billion kina annually to illegal, unreported and unregulated or IUU fishing. The NFA clarified that their efforts and initiatives have significantly decreased IUU activities, citing a robust surveillance system and international collaborations for monitoring PNG waters. The NFA highlighted a Foreign Fisheries Agency study showing a decrease in IUU-linked tuna volume from 306,440 tons in 2010-2015 to 192 tons. Stressed that the reported financial losses are regional and not specific to PNG. Octady Mining Limited has successfully renewed its special mining lease, one for an additional 20 years, extending the lease until 2042. This extension, the second since the lease was first granted in 1981, was officially announced on Tuesday, 23rd April, during a presentation in Port Moresby. Octady Mining Limited has successfully extended its special mining lease until 2042, securing a 20-year renewal that also includes 22 mining purpose leases and 2 mining easements, Announced during a recent event in Port Moresby, OTML's CEO Kedi Ilimbit highlighted the company's commitment to sustainable development and community engagement. Kedi Ilimbit expressed gratitude for the stakeholder support that made the extension possible and reiterated the company's dedication to environmental stewardship and community benefits. As part of its strategic initiatives, OTML is conducting community awareness sessions in preparation for its Community Mine Continuation Agreement extension review, which is set to conclude in October 2025. The company is also pursuing various strategic growth projects aligned with its business plan, expected to contribute 30 billion kina in social benefits over the next 27 years through taxes, royalties, and dividends. These efforts underscore OTML's commitment to driving value for stakeholders while promoting sustainable developments in the region. In a major collaborative effort in New Guinea, Papua New Guinea's national flag carrier has teamed up with the PNG Tourism Promotion Authority in a 1.5 million kina partnership aimed at bolstering tourism over the next 2 years. Signed in Port Moresby by Acting CEO of Air New Guinea Gary Seron and PNG TPA CEO Eric Mosman Uvovo, the agreement focuses on enhancing tourism through promotional campaigns and material production. The initiative, aligning with the government's development plans, will feature Air New Guinea's support in producing visual promotional content and aiding travel for tourism influencers and writers. The partnership is set to spotlight PNG's natural landscapes, cultural attractions, and SME tourism ventures, contributing significantly to economic and social development through sustainable tourism. Turning overseas now, thousands turned out in Sydney as servicemen and women marched through to the heart of the city to mark Anzac Day.
RSL hopes that services like the march here today through the heart of Sydney's CBD provides an opportunity for the state and for the country to come together and really embrace the true Anzac spirit, which means endurance, good humour and mateship, all the things that the Anzacs have become famous for over so many years of service. More than 10,000 veterans and servicemen and women are marching today. There's also, like you can hear, about 40 bands who are also playing in today's march. It's expected to take 3 hours through Elizabeth Street, then they'll make their way to the Anzac Memorial at Hyde Park South. You can see some of the cars carrying some of the older veterans coming through now, some of the favourites here who have lined the streets. Many people have travelled far and wide to come and pay their respects and say thank you to the people who have served their country. Talked to a family who came from Tamworth. We talked to some other families as well who are representing their loved ones who have lost their lives and since passed and who have served their country too. They say this is a proud day where they can represent their family and make sure everyone remembers what they sacrificed for their country. You can still see some of those cars coming through now, plenty of people clapping, some of those veterans waving outside the taxi windows. There's still a long way to go, still 3 hours, but they're making their way to through Elizabeth Street now. Dan?
And large crowds turned out at Anzac Day commemorations on the Gold Coast as well.
In a stunning morning here at Currumbin Beach on the Gold Coast, where thousands attended the Anzac Day dawn service. It's the largest dawn service in regional Australia, attracting people from across the city to attend. The most unique part of the service is the paddle out, where members of the local Surf Life Saving Club spread the ashes of past veterans and war widows out at sea as army planes fly over. It's a moving moment, and this is what some of the attendees had to say about the morning.
Anzac Day means so much to me because it brings back memories of my father who went over to New Guinea and fought, and to all the people who went over there and sacrificed their lives to give us a better country.
I think it's about a coming together, a mateship. Like I said, my uncles and stuff served as well in the war. I think it brings the community together, and with local sporting clubs and stuff like ourselves.
The ashes being taken out to sea, I think, is a very great tribute to not only those veterans but their families as well.
After a sombre morning, many will now attend Anzac Day marches or tour-up events at local RSLs across the city.
Darwin's famous Midday Beach Sunset Market will reopen tomorrow for the dry season with almost no access to the beach. During the wet season, all but one of the beach walkways and most of the dunes were washed away.
Every dry season, thousands of tourists flock to sample Darwin's beach food and sunsets.
People structure their holidays around coming to the Midday Beach markets. How iconic is that?
But this year, wet season tides and waves have taken half the beach, leaving restricted access because most of the walkways were washed away.
It's blocked off on the other side,
Yep.
and that's quite a dangerous drop-off.
Coastal erosion defences have been toppled.
The damage all the way down is just phenomenal.
The Darwin Council is promising walkway repairs after years of dune revegetation to reduce damage.
It involves smoothing the paths and bringing some sand back from down on below the tide mark and putting it back.
Most states are fighting similar battles. Aware fixes are often expensive and temporary.
We do know that sea level rise has accelerated over the last 30 years.
While Midday Beach in Darwin has lost a considerable amount of sand to erosion, scientists say at other beaches around Australia, sand is actually building up.
About 11% are actually prograding or getting bigger, and about 11% are actually eroding.
There are particular areas suffering from coastal erosion around Darwin, just as there are around the country. On places like Bearsand Island near Darwin, expanding beaches are benefiting nesting turtles. Scientists say most of Australia's coastline is currently stable, and much of the power to influence coastal erosion is actually in our own hands.
Where, for instance, we build a port and we put out big breakwaters.
With quite localised impacts.
Often where you're protecting infrastructure with a seawall, usually at great cost, you'll have a negative impact somewhere else.
So while we need to tackle sea level rise globally, some local erosion solutions are closer at hand.
Back home in sports, the annual Kokoda Boxing Challenge is set for April 28th, with the launching of the event expected early this afternoon, 25th April in Port Moresby. This annual boxing event allows the national boxers from PNG and Australia bout in commemoration of the Anzac Day. It is also one of the preparation events for the PNG boxing teams as they look to keep their fitness level at top-notch ahead of the Olympic qualifier in Thailand in May. Kokoda Boxing Challenge is one of the main events on the PNG Boxing Union calendar. The event will feature PNG's top boxers like John Ume, Alan Oaike and Shilda Yama. Boxing bouts take place at the Lamana Boxing Club in Port Moresby. And that's been our news update. Do join us for more news and sports at 6 tonight.